Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. And if you, my friend, have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you could go to homebrewhappyhour.com, click on that submit a question link at the top of the page. You could email Joshua at homebrewhappyhour.com. But even better, call it in to 325-305-6107. I love hearing your voice. You love leaving voicemails. It's mutual. It's symbiotic, I think is the right word. It's fun. Just do it. I am your host, Joshua Stubing, and I am so excited for this episode. I've been reaching out to Sierra Nevada forever, begging for an interview because we're doing the Trub Club kit in homage to their pale ale. And I've been reaching out, and it's been super silent. And it's remained super silent. So I had to dig deep. I'm welcoming back. It's been a while since he's been on the show. I just wanted to get everyone hyped up and then real disappointed when I turned the screen over. It is. I was going to call you.
And I have brewed the Sierra Nevada clone before.
You have.
Yeah.
What is the title?
And I just bought two 16-gallon kegs of Sierra Nevada beer about a month ago for an event. So
no kidding.
I still have them in my kegerator, including the one that they won't call you back about.
Okay. Man, so I started first off, the chief keg washer and president of CM Becker International, Mr. Todd Burns. He's back on the show. As I was having you on, I was thinking for maybe either keeping it a total surprise until people listen or watch, or doing a clickbait, like having your picture on the thumbnail for YouTube and like, is he back? You know, like some clickbait has been working for me this year. It's been working really good. The one where I had announced all the layoff stuff and all that got tons of views. So I was like, when people feel bad for me, they tune in. So I've really been laying into it. So I'm faking a divorce. I'm faking my father abandoning me. Just a bunch of stuff. Need the sympathy views. But before we get into any of the show and all that, and even the small talk, Mr. Burns, how are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. It's been kind of a weird couple of months.
Yeah.
Especially without my buddy around anymore.
Yeah, well, and you're not going to HomebrewCon, and so I can't be your little buddy at HomebrewCon.
And I was going to go, but I unfortunately have to have some foot surgery, and it wouldn't be good.
No.
I can't fit into my Gilligan's Island shoes with
they did bring back club night. I'll go ahead and just segue into that. Friends, homebrewcon.com. Register if you haven't already. And if you're not following Homebrew Happy Hour on social media accounts, just know my pop and I will be there. We're actually going to fly into Nashville, rent a car.
You're going to fly.
We're going to fly into Nashville, rent a car, go to Gatlin and Pigeon Forge is Pigeon Forge, Pigeon something. There's alpine roller coasters and stuff up there in the Smoky Mountains. So we're going to do some of that. So I think we're leaving on a Tuesday. No, we're leaving. Yeah, maybe on a Tuesday. No, we're leaving on a Wednesday because the conference doesn't start till Friday. So we're leaving on a Wednesday. Gonna stay the night in Cherokee, which is kind of nearby Asheville and Pigeon Forge and all that at a casino. Because we're degenerate gamblers. And then we're gonna drive in to Asheville.
I thought y'all would drive completely. I'm shocked. So if your daddy's there to hold your hand, you're willing to fly.
Yeah. I play tough when he's around. Yeah. He had points and I offered. So he used the points for that and for the first night. And then I booked the car and the hotel. Thank God, Asheville, we're staying. I won't say where we're staying. I don't want weirdos there. But where we are staying got a group rate from the AHA. Dude, I've never been to Asheville. I can't imagine. I mean, I bet it's beautiful. I'm not gonna dog on it because I bet it's beautiful.
Oh, Nashville, I've never been. I've always heard it's a really, really beautiful place.
Yeah, but the hotel rates, if you didn't have a group rate through the AHA, I think the lowest one I found was $380 a night.
It's very expensive. Asheville, I noticed a lot of those markets that you wouldn't think would be that much are really high, like Charlotte, and just a lot of those I think a lot of those, Savannah, I've
Yeah,
noticed, a
what's
lot of
up
them
with
are
that?
expensive.
Like, I mean, again, I don't know the tourism there, but through the group rate, it's like $180 a night, and even at $180, I was like, oh my god, $180 a night. Okay, I'll do it. Homebrew Happy Hour has some money, but then we looked at other hotels that weren't involved in group rate, or the same hotel we were at outside of the group rate, because the group rate gets you a room with a king bed in it. And I told my pop, hey, it's been a while, but we could share a bed. Um, I don't know if we don't share the bed, who's sleeping on the couch or whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll Rochambeau. We'll rock, paper, scissors for that.
Well, you never offered to share a bed with me.
You never offered to share a room with me. I offered. You always put me in rooms with James, and he is so uncomfortable playing gay. I will be like, hey, but there's room on this queen size, on this full size bed for you. I don't play like that. Like, oh yeah, playing. It's pretend. Ha ha ha. Oh, but no, HomebrewCon, my friends. If you go to homebrewcon.com, you can register. It'll redirect you to the AHA's website there. I hope to see y'all there. I am very excited, and we are gonna have.
I wish I could go. I'm jealous. I really was looking forward to going. I have foot surgery like 9 days before.
Walking is sort of a stipulation for going to a conference. You want to be able to walk.
It's on the 10th is the surgery. So that's 9 days.
9 days before the show starts. Yeah.
Yeah, that would not happen.
No, you'd be miserable. I mean, you wheelchair, Todd. We could.
I would be miserable, and therefore you and your father would be miserable.
But
right?
for club night, with the theme, just think of wheelchair. Nope, I'm not. Never mind. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of.
You were going to dress as a nurse, weren't you? I know where this is going.
Much better. I'll just say you could be Stephen Hawking, and I could be your bed nurse or something. But I know I was trying to think. I was trying to think of people in wheelchairs, and then I was like, wait, no, don't do that.
But you said it anyway.
I did anyway. Christopher Reeves, Stephen Hawking. I can't stop myself. Anyways, my friends, we're also going to have Julia Herz on the show, not next week. Next week, I'm going to have Charlie from Golden Hive Mead. He's going to be at HomebrewCon. He just gave a talk at CBC with Clawhammer and Brewlosophy. Martin, who's been running the YouTube channel for Brewlosophy, they just gave a talk to all those craft brewers about how to up your game and all that. You were at CBC. You did not go to their talk.
I got this shirt there.
Uncle Gus's Steaks. Oh, I like that shirt.
It was very good steak. Oh God, I love Philly cheesesteaks. I pretty much only go to Philly to eat Philly cheesesteaks. So
what's the controversy? Do you Cheese Whiz? Is that what they do to make it traditional?
This one uses real cheese, and it's very good. I see people will throw things at me now. I like them with real cheese, and I like them with Cheese Whiz. I just don't like them with no cheese.
Yeah, I don't know what's traditional, but I do know when we were in Chicago and I even looked at ketchup, people were like, what are you doing on that hot dog? Like,
they didn't have ketchup for the Philly cheesesteak.
No, I meant the hot, pardon me.
I know that, but I'm just saying they also didn't have it for the Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, really?
And hot dogs and Philly cheesesteaks need ketchup.
Yeah. Oh, God. You put ketchup on everything. But, what other small talk do I have? Because I also, I always talk about when I have Lorena on, unfortunately, a lot of the time, oh, it's last minute. I'm so sorry. And you would call me this morning and you're like, man, last week, if you ever need someone last minute. And I said, you know what? Today's publishing day. The person I was supposed to have on this week had to bail. That's a theme this year on me, either ghosting me or bailing on me. No big deal. No harm, no foul. I won't name names, but I was like, what are you doing later today? I'm going to be home in an hour. You want to record? And you sounded like you almost regretted the offer. You're like,
oh, I didn't think it's going to happen that quick. You make these random things. If there's anything I can ever do for you, let me know. But
I called your bluff. I didn't know that was going to happen so quick, is what you just said. Could be the title of my memoir from my honeymoon. I didn't know it was going to happen that quick. Anyway, other small talk. The last one I have, guys, or two last ones. We are brewing a pale ale inspired by Sierra Nevada. And by inspired, I mean they published their literal recipe on their website. So You can brew it at home if you want, but if you want the premiumness of the ingredients that we have and the satisfaction of knowing you're supporting such a good cause, go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. Join a recipe receiving tier. If you don't join a recipe receiving tier, you could just outright buy it. I have made that a thing now on my Patreon that if you don't want to join a tier, you can buy it. Go to the post, click buy. I pad it a little to cover for the shipping, and but it's $70. And again, it's not a money making endeavor. Since I've taken over completely, Todd, I still have not figured out how to make this thing make money. It's a weird. I'm a black belt at not monetizing things, and I have, though. You gave me some grief whenever you saw, oh, you're making some changes on how you do things to save money. Must be nice now that it's your money. You're like, when it was your money, I was like, oh yeah, use those boxes. Oh yeah, FedEx every time. And now I'm like on pirate ship. Okay, so it's 80 cents more to go this way. No, we don't need it that bad. We're doing it this way.
Yep. I know. I was curious. They do still have that recipe on their website. Isn't that incredible? I love that.
It is. And thanks
as bad as you've talked about them in the last few episodes, I still want to say how much I love them.
I haven't talked bad yet. That was Boston Beer.
I know.
Boston Beer is the ones that they're dead to. They're dead to me. Even though the Boston Lager turned out phenomenal. We'll have to show it on a future episode. Our batch it's a Vienna Lager, so you would love it. The recipe, it is, a very straightforward Vienna Lager. The Cellar Science strain that we used was their German, which you're also very familiar with. I know. I was trying to tell people, because you haven't been on since the switch, there is no hard feelings from Imperial. We love Imperial. They did good. It was just the way that the sponsorship worked out and the way that they have to ship their yeast. It's expensive to 2-day liquid yeast and then ship that out to people because you have to have ice packs. You have to, you know what I mean? Like, and with the summer heat coming up and all that, I was thinking, oh my God. And I tried to work out something with them. It's a rough.
You are becoming very physically responsible. I like this.
Again, I've always been with my own money, so I've always been. But when I reached out to Cellar Science, because Todd and I and James, when is the first time we tried Cellar Science? 2 years ago, probably, give or take. It's been within 18 months or more.
Tried it? What do you mean?
Like the first time we bought it and used it.
Oh, first time. I'm sorry.
The first time.
Yeah, maybe 18 months, a couple of years ago. I like it. Yeah.
Right. James specifically has had such a good experience with their German Weinheitsstefan, which however you say it.
The last beer I brewed at home, I was like, oh, this is expired. It was all expired, what we had in the fridge. So I was like, instead of doing 4 packets, I'm going to do 5. Oh my gosh. It looked like a boiling kettle.
It chud. Yeah. Since you've had any sent to you, they've gone from 12 gram to 15 grams. So packing more. 15. Yeah. 15 grams.
Oh, 15. Okay.
But a ton more cells.
I saw their announcement about that.
And they offer a ton more variety. And I hit up their marketing director, who's my liaison between me and Cellar Science. And I asked him for his opinion because on this pale ale, which is available at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, you'd think they're Cali, their traditional Chico strain. But then they also did an enhanced Chico strain called West Coast. But then they did an enhanced Chico that can be at higher temps called Velo. So I hit them up like, I'm at whatever y'all think is going to produce and yield the closest Sierra Nevada Pale Ale clone I can give. So it's between 3 strains from Cellar Science, Cali, West Coast, or Velo. So we'll see what they say.
They have a lot more of them too now.
They have
I'm just in here looking. They've added a bunch since I looked literally 3 weeks ago when I ordered some.
It has. It's been within a month and he sent me a ton of samples. You tell me next time you're brewing what you're brewing, and I'll send you the sample. I have a ton of samples now from there.
Okay, yeah. I mean, right now I think I know I have the Cali. They were out, and I have the German. They were out of the British one.
Yeah, I have a lot of English. I have a ton of
And,
English.
so I had to order a different brand, but in the future, I mean, I've used the English before and it
Yeah.
works great.
Yeah. The English, yeah, they used to only have 4 or 5 kind of staples, and now they're up to like 12 or
That's
14.
awesome.
It is. It's really nice. So again, guys, patreon.com/Homebrew Happy Hour. Thank you to Cellar Science, Hops Direct, Brewer's Friend, and of course, Monster Brewing Hardware for supporting our efforts and making these kits as premium as they are. And if you want to watch my Pop and I brew, Brew Day Live is coming up Friday, May 29th at 10 a.m. Central, right here, youtube.com/Homebrew Happy Hour. You can't see it on your side. I haven't been able to change that about my production, but on the screen is a nice Brew Day Live thing. I've added my pop to the marketing. When I started putting myself on there, some other boomer who listens in the show, really nice guy, thanks Jeff for the call out, but he was like, your dad's been a part of this for over a year and you don't put him in the marketing? And I was like, oh, that's a good point. I'm a bad son. So I've added my father to the marketing. Again, May 29th, 10 a.m. Central, YouTube.com.
Scott could probably confirm that too, right?
Yeah, he can confirm I'm a bad.
Happily,
Yeah,
happily.
happily. Yeah, on Father's Day, what do you get me, boy? What's in my? I got you a pack of nicotine gum, Pop. Look. Anyways, I'm gonna do the gong of questions to get into the show, but this episode is brought to you by Cellar Science. For years, homebrewers have been told they have to choose. Do you want the quality of liquid yeast or the convenience of dry? Well, Cellar Science flipped the script. They're proving that dry yeast isn't just a backup plan anymore, it's the upgrade. Cellar Science offers premium dry yeast that delivers higher cell counts than typical liquid pitches, meaning you get a stronger, healthier fermentation without the hassle. And the best part? You can direct pitch right into your wort, no starters, no waiting, just brewing. Whether you need their new West Coast strain for a classic American IPA or jungle for a massive fruity estery flavor, they've got your next batch covered. It's quality yeast that doesn't break the bank. Save time, save money, and brew better beer with Cellar Science. Before the questions that I sent you, I want to do something different. Before we started recording, were like, hey, I have some input from a question from last week. And then I had another kind of thing I wanted to throw at you. But let's talk about what you had brought up first. Last week with Lorena, a person had called in and he was pouring foamy, right? Like in his car, he was overcarbonated, or by his forced carbonation technique, he didn't want to overcarbon the keg, rather. So he didn't know if he could just, prime, use priming sugar and do that. He had questions about carbonation in the keg, and you were like, man, I actually have some input on that question. So I'm going to throw it to you, some follow-up on last week, episode 475.
So I'm confused a little. I thought this week's question was about the carbing in the keg. The one we were going to talk about, isn't that for overcarbonating one?
Yeah, no, this week there is no question about kegs.
You may have
did I send you the wrong
sent me the wrong.
Ain't no way I sent you the wrong PDF. No, I sent you the pressure.
Yeah, the very question number one was Brandon, and that has to do with
Pressure
forced
fermentation.
fermentation. Him worried about overcarbonating from pressure fermentation.
Oh, see, I thought you were talking. Yes. I'm sorry. Let me pull up.
No, what I was talking about was you had just mentioned about overcarbonating a keg and what to do about that. And I had that exact same experience with those two Sierra Nevada kegs about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I overcarbonated the crap out of them.
Yeah.
So I think what happened is that the keezer got too cold and it partially froze, and that kind of messed up the regulator because I think it may have frozen and it shot too much CO2 in there. So anyway, I'm not really absolutely sure what happened, but I know they were overcarbonated because they were pouring like crap. So one thing I just wanted to bring up is one way to look at it, or if you think it's overcarbonated, but you're not absolutely sure, and you're like, well, it's foaming like crazy, I'm going to turn it down. I'm going to turn it down to 8. Well, that seems like it would help, but it hurts quite a bit. So, and the reason for that is that you've got a really low pressure on the keg, but I'm sorry, on the that you're supplying, but a very high pressure in the keg, and that actually causes more foam. So what I found first, I wanted to see how overcarbonated am I, and what I found extremely interesting because I had a lot of time to play with this, is I actually turned my CO2 up to about 20 psi, and it poured great.
Interesting.
So the reason it poured great is because we matched those two pressures, and we have a flow control faucet. We can adjust it, and we can get it to pour. If I turned it below 12, no matter what I did, even flow control couldn't help it because of the difference in pressure. And the only reason I knew this is because we have to do this a lot when we're working with jockey boxes, and they actually have too much compensation.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I knew I was really overcarbonated. And what I did was I just took all the pressure out of the keg and shook it a little, took it out again. And I've done that before, but what I did differently this time is I left it. And every day I'd go in and pull the tab for a couple of days. And within a couple of days, it was decarbed. And I also let the kegerator warm up a little bit. So it had frozen partially, I think. So I let it warm up to about 45 degrees. And what that did is it released even more gas as I was pulling that tab. So that worked really well. It's pouring absolutely perfectly now.
Interesting. And I butchered the question. Last week, his question was verbatim, "Hey guys, big fan of the show. I recently tried to speed up my carbonation by cranking my CO2 up to 30 psi for 24 hours. I dialed it back to serving pressure yesterday, which was the next day, but now all I'm getting is a glass full of foam. I tried venting the keg, but it just seems to keep foaming up. Is my beer ruined, or is there a way to degas it without losing any aroma?" That was the question. Sorry. But
okay.
And I had told Lorena, there was a time I don't know the timeline. It was a while ago, may even have been it couldn't have been pre-COVID because you didn't have that big keezer built yet. So maybe it was shortly after you built the keezer. I remember there being a keg that was left too high for too long, and we took it out and let it get to room temp. Do you remember that? Like we let it warm up, basically, degassed it there, let it sit for maybe even overnight, then put it in at a low pressure, and that seemed to resolve it. And like you said, you also have always had V10 flow controls. So we were giving him options last week on, Lorena was like, "Hey, I don't have flow control. Sometimes I have to mitigate it with an obnoxious amount of hose in my kegerator." And that will almost be sort of what we talk about today or touch on.
And that's another thing too. If you put an obnoxious amount of hose in there and you've got you're pushing it at a much different pressure than your beer is carbonated to, what it's going to do is all of that gas is going to come out of solution in that hose because the pressure within that hose is a lower pressure. So it's immediately going to vent out, and then you're going to have an entire hose full of CO2. And when you pour that beer, you're going to get an incredible amount of foam, even more than otherwise.
Yeah.
So a longer hose will actually hurt it in that situation until you depressurize it.
How interesting. I first remember the premise of pressure matching on a lawn draw. I think it might have been in Colorado City, where you were like, "Oh no, we have to bump it up. We're not turning it down." Then boom, it poured perfect. And like, oh, who would have thought?
20. I think in that particular, a lot of the situations where these aren't really long runs, but they are, maybe 30 feet.
Yeah.
I think that we're pushing those at about 25 psi.
Yeah, that's incredible. And again, the restriction and compensation is occurring through the traveling, and then
and obviously understand that we're using mixed gas too.
So
you're not overcarbonating the beer because of the mixed gas.
Yeah, and coupled with those new, oh my goodness, what's the flagship faucet now for CM? The ones you put at Colorado City,
CM10,
the CM10. No, the CM10.
Oh no, damn it!
I put you on the spot. Okay, I'm not the only one.
On the spot. V.
No, but it's not V. Remember?
No, I know. But I'm trying. V, not V10, but hold on. World Wide Web.
I was gonna say now we got
flow control. I am drawing a total blank.
So am I. That's why
CS, not CM.
There we
CS.
go. The CS10. Thank you.
It's very confusing because we actually do have a CM10,
You
but
do.
we don't really talk about it much.
No,
So
it was in the original catalog. I think you actually took it out for the recent one just because no one buys it. The CM10 is that classic Cornelius looking
it
flow
is.
control.
Yeah, and it's really just to make when people need to replace one of those old Cornelius ones
Yeah.
is primarily what we have it for.
And the CS10, if people go, I'll put a link to it, the cmbecker.com's website. It is a perfect mix of the V10 and the CM10, honestly. Like it has that classic look, but it's more industrial. Yeah. It's real pretty. I know, I don't know if you've been back to Colorado City, but it looked incredible on their install. And was it 30 total faucets, I believe, is what they ended up going with? 30 of these CS10s. Incredible.
Oh, and another thing we did there was we put Guinness on and used our stout faucet, and they said it was just I mean, I actually tried it before I left. I tried all the beers before I left, actually.
As I stumbled home.
Yeah. But anyway, it worked, man, it worked great.
Yeah.
Wow, it was really cool.
I would say right now, guys, if you're ever in Colorado City, 99.9% of my audience is not going to go to Colorado City. They have it's in the middle of nowhere in an area of Texas that's already.
If you live in Texas and you're going to like Big Bend or El Paso, I mean, you're probably going to be going somewhere.
You have to
pass through there.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was the question. I'm going to get into the proper questions. With the kind of questions. Our first one is from Brandon. He wrote in, he said, "Hey, longtime listener, I've been thinking a lot about pressure fermentation lately to speed up my turnarounds and keep esters low in my lagers. My question, is it really set and forget as people say? I'm worried about overcarbonating the beer before it even hits the keg, or worse, stressing the yeast so much that I get off flavors anyway. What's your sweet spot for PSI?" Let me address the parts I know and then throw it to you on how you chastise me for pressure fermenting a Kolsch. But before we get to that, I know everything I know about pressure fermentation from my buddy Jonathan Marut. He really got me into it. We did a video a couple years back with him in the barn talking about a very straightforward setup to get into pressure fermentation. And my buddy Tron from Homebrew Lab has a disagreement about this number, but I know you don't go any higher than 15, but 10 PSI is my sweet spot. Now, how you achieve getting to 10 is also where a lot of people will differentiate. James, for a long time now, he immediately injects 10 PSI after he pitches into his vessel. There's no question asked, and doesn't matter what the temperature is in regards to what he's going to be fermenting at. He hits it with 10, and he has enjoyed the results he's gotten there. Most of the time, my pop and I, when we put it in our Fermzilla and we are getting ready for fermentation to begin, if there is a 10-degree, like 8 to 12, so I'll round 10-degree variance of what the pouch says is the range for that yeast. So if it says it goes up to 68, well, if my office is 78 or 76 to 80 or whatever, which it's not that high, I will then immediately inject 10, and I have my spunding valve on the top, and it's easy to set and easy to calibrate, and leave it be and let pressure fermentation occur. What I prefer to do, though, I keep my office at 65 when we ferment, which for a lot of ales is kind of on the higher end of the pressure, of the fermentation on a lot of these strains. But I will usually at that temperature just put the spunding valve I've calibrated on a keg to make sure that it's going to start blowing off at 10. I will put that on, and then I allow the natural fermentation to build up to that 10 before it starts bleeding off. For the Kolsch, when I did that the last time, Todd, because the first time I did it, I injected 10 immediately. You tried that Kolsch because I brought some to you, and you had said, it's not bad, but man, there's nothing, there's no esters. There's like none. And you're like, why would you pressure ferment the Kolsch? Because you need from the yeast some of those esters. And that got to me where I was like, oh, you know what? He's right. Like, I don't want a fruit punch in my mouth.
Whoa, what did you just say?
Well, now that you've been gone a while, I can say it,
No.
My wife hears it once every 5 years too. You're right. You're right. But for a Kolsch specifically, and Brandon didn't ask about it, I would say it's style circumstantial. For the Kolsch, I don't inject unless I absolutely, if my pop and I brew a Kolsch and the dog days of summer and I can't get my office below 72 for whatever reason. It's 120 outside and I can't get my little office with the overkill mini split to get down to temp. Yeah, I'll probably inject that first. But my best results for like the Japanese rice lager and the Kolsch and some of those other crispy finishing types of beer is to let the carbonation happen and that spunding valve being set to bleed off at 10 and then letting fermentation go to town. That's been the best. His question about set and forget, yes, if your spunding valve is calibrated or set, I might be conflating those words inappropriately, but if you know that your spunding valve is going to start blowing off at 10, then it is set and forget. I check in because it's in my office, but it is set and forget. I've never heard of anyone over-carbonating a pressure-fermented beer. That's the whole point of the spunding valve.
I don't think it's possible.
I mean,
it is. If you set it at 15 and the style is for 10, then yeah.
Right. But I've not, even at 15, that it, by the time you get it into the keg and let it cold condition, I just, over-carbonate, I've never would even use that word because even 15 is not that far off. It wouldn't be blatantly over-carbonated. Not like that question from last week, like, oh my God, I had it at 30 and I over-carbed it. 15 is not that big a jump from 10. But overstressing the yeast, Todd, is where the big argument happens. You don't pressure ferment, but you probably have some opinions. What do you think about a sweet spot for people when they are pressure fermenting? Or is the reason you're not even doing it is because you want the yeast to not have any hurdles between what it's supposed to do for that style?
I have pressure fermented before and done beers, but I haven't done a lot. I've seen James do a lot here. But I will say even he has kind of on some styles, he's gone back to cooling them, and the last couple of beers we brewed together here, they turned out really well. The only problem with both of them is that, we got too low because we left them over the weekend, and we were both too lazy to drive back up here, so they were both at, like, 1.006 for the final gravity.
You don't mind that, though. He might mind.
I don't mind it. I think the British mild would have been better with a little less, like at
10?
10,
Yeah.
something like that. But I thought they both tasted fantastic, but he was like, "Yeah, we should have stopped them," and I would have stopped them if it would have been during that's the problem with brewing on a Friday is that you leave it over the weekend. If it's a really fast fermenting beer, it might be done Monday. I say that. I think we brewed it on Thursday, actually. But
right. Yeah. And I'm pulling up, I know I gotta find what's the range for the German strain. So I did actually on the Vienna Lager, the Boston beer clone. So the fermentation range that Cellar Science wants for that German strain is 50 to 59. My office was at 65, so I did inject 10 at the beginning of it, and the result was great. Like it is super crisp. Ours got down to 10-10 before I kegged it, and
I don't think you're going to stress the yeast at that. I've never heard of. I mean, I've obviously you've heard of people having an issue, or it wouldn't be an issue, but I haven't. I haven't had that issue. I mean, what happens when you overstress the yeast? What are they getting? What's the results?
That would, that's a question I could follow up with Brand. I don't know what would be most common. Like if you're adding too much pressure and overstressing it, does it going to add to more diacetyl because it's not, you're killing off more yeast and it's not able to clean up? I really don't know. Diacetyl, tomato. Lorena knows how to pronounce words, and I could.
Oh, no, she's really good at pronouncing words.
She's so good, and every time she gives me that look, I blame my speech impediment. Like, oh, I can't say diacetyl, it's diacetyl. But I really don't know because I've never experienced stressing the yeast. In contrast, I wouldn't call this stressing the yeast where I didn't get any esters from one of those Kolsches we did. But I wouldn't say I stressed it. That stressing it was in a negative way because it was still, it basically tasted like a cream ale at that point, like a Hallertau middle fruit cream ale. I wasn't upset, but to your point at the time, because this was 3 years ago, you were like, no, it's not a bad beer, but like it wouldn't have won Kolsch Cup.
So it seems like even if you did stress it, and you had you had an issue with diacetyl, it seems like you could do a diacetyl
Rest.
rest, but you'd have to do it before it was done.
You're right. Well, and
Sense.
one of the things I've enjoyed, and questions like this I enjoy because people will comment, and that helps the algorithm if you're here at
Yeah.
youtube.com. I with
All you people that think it hurts the yeast are wrong. Now we'll get lots of comments.
Yeah, you're idiots. Yeah. Yeah. Aren't y'all happy he's back? Aren't y'all happy? I know with like the lager, because we just did a lager. My understanding and my anecdotal experience doing it at 65 degrees here. What if you were doing a lager, wouldn't you bump it up to about 65 for your diacetyl rest? Wouldn't that be, or 70-ish? It would be
yeah.
right?
I don't remember the exact temperature, but yeah, I
But it's
definitely bump it up into the 60s.
Yeah. And so my understanding when I got into pressure fermentation, especially with lagers, it's happening simultaneous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to do an additional step for the diacetyl rest, the diacetyl rest. It sounds more natural, diacetyl rest instead of diacetyl rest. Whatever. The rest part, I don't have to do because it's at that temperature already the whole time. I don't think I'm making sense, but that is a good bait to get some people to comment.
Well, yeah, and I don't have to do a diacetyl rest because when we're doing it for so long, and
but
you're fermenting I mean, I'm fermenting at a fairly low temperature, but it's still in the 60s. So
right.
Yeah,
but well, you prefer traditional fermentation with your glycol setup. Like you get it in the actual range for the yeast, and you keep it there until you're ready to cold crash, and it's in the same vessel, and you lower it down to, what do you cold crash at, 35, 34?
As cold as I can get it. I mean, that's my system with what we have on it. It struggles to get much below 40 and 30. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll get it as low as it'll go. Let's say high 30s, real low 40s. And then a lot of times I'll keg it, and then I'll stick it in a much colder fridge and let it sit for a while to clarify even more.
Yeah. And because we don't do glycol, I was telling people this on a prior episode. My process has worked out for us because we have patience. We're able to have patience because we're drowning in beer. Like the Vienna Lager has been in my Kaiser for a little over a week now, untouched, but on gas at serving temp. And I say untouched. I tasted it once on carbonation on the weekend. But either way, it is, for the sake of clarity, with that float at 2.0 as well. Oh my gosh, when my pop comes for Brew Day Live and we try it, I expect it to be pretty crystal clear when we show it on the camera. And if it's not crystal clear, guess what's not going to be on camera, guys? But I'm pretty sure that process, like you said, of letting it sit in a cold fridge, because I think my fridges are all set to 33, like in my garage. And so, you're, like you said, your system, the limitation is, it can't necessarily get down as much as you want, but you mitigate it through kegging and cold conditioning in your teaser, yada, yada, yada. Wrapping up Brandon's question, I think this is so open-ended and based on people's experience. Jonathan Marute had a spreadsheet that was shared by hundreds, at least, of home brewers about their anecdotal experience. Hey, I brewed the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and this was the strain I pitched. This was the temperature I pitched at. This was the temperature I pressure fermented at, and here's the results. It was this, this, or this. I'll try to, we're recording this on the day I'm publishing it, so I might not have that link in time for when I publish this. But I'll try to find it, because I remember when he did share it with me, going through it and being like, wow, that's brilliant. Like, people are just cataloging.
That's a great idea.
It is. Yeah. And then you can go, oh, I can replicate what that guy did and just follow it like a recipe. Like, you do your recipe, but I mean, then, that guy did a Kolsch. Okay, I'm doing a Kolsch. And he pitched here. I'm pitching that yeast. So it's a good idea. I'm going to try to find that. Jonathan's probably somewhere flying. I think he does like the oceanic routes. So if he doesn't, then some of those like Lost jokes I've ever made with him probably went right over his head. I don't know if you remember the TV show Lost.
Oh yeah.
I tried to watch it, but got lost.
I watched it quite a while and liked it, and then it kind of they started to jump the shark, as they say. So
They did. They Fonzied right over that shark. But anyways, Brandon, thank you so much for submitting that question. A reminder, guys, you can always email like every question this week to Joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com. You could text our hotline, but even better, call in, leave a voicemail, 325-305-6107. This episode is brought to you by brewersfriend.com. Brewing beer at home isn't just about ingredients, it is about precision. And that's where brewersfriend.com comes in. Whether you're dialing in your first recipe or perfecting your 100th, Brewer's Friend gives you the tools to brew with confidence. Their recipe builder, mash calculators, and water profile database helps take the guesswork out of the process so you can focus on what matters, making great beer. Brewer's Friend isn't just software, it's a community of passionate homebrewers sharing recipes, tips, and feedback. It's like having a homebrew club right in your pocket. Head over to brewersfriend.com today and take your homebrewing to the next level. Use promo code Happy Hour and get 25% off your premium membership. That's brewersfriend.com, because brewing better starts with better tools. The dawn of questions has not gone away. Brings us to question number 2. Another email. Our buddy Adrian wrote in, I finally took the plunge and bought a reverse osmosis system because my city water smells like a swimming pool. That's a rough sentence for my speech impediment. City water smells like swimming pool. I know I need to add minerals back in, but I'm seeing conflicting information. Can I just use a generic brewing salt blend, or do I need to be a chemist about it? Also, on the flip side, if I decide to be lazy one week and go back to tap water, is it okay to salt that? Or am I asking for a mineral train wreck? I like the imagery there. My pop and I, if you're new here, I'll give you a spoiler. We brew with RO water and have never salted it, ever. That's when people go, boo, hiss, oh my God, you're gross. We have had great results. Could we have had better results? That's up for debate. Mr. Burns, you've been salting your water for a while now. RO water, of course. We'll get to why you don't salt a city supply, or maybe don't want to. It depends. Your mileage may vary depending on where you live. But what got you into salting your water as opposed to just straight up RO?
Really just flavor profile. I mean, beer that traditionally comes from places that have water profiles. And when you take that water profile out of the beer, you take something out of that style. So what I try to do now is find a mix that's true to that style. So, and now some styles are it's not as important that it's very much like this particular area of this country, because you've got American pale ales that are brewed all over the states, right? But there's still a water profile that works really well for that, depending on what kind of hops are, how much hops are in there, how bitter it is, the different ingredients. So you can pretty much find that by just looking online and get an idea of what to do with it. There's also a great tool in Brewer's Friend for that I did struggle with. There's a little bit of a learning curve on it, and but I have it worked out now, and ever since I've been using that, I haven't had any issues. I would point out a few things about city water. One, the complaint that he's talking about is that chlorine smell. It's strong chlorine smell. All you have to do to get rid of that is dispense that water a couple days before and just let it sit out, and the chlorine will evaporate out of it.
Is that true?
Yeah, it'll come out. So if you wait till the last minute, then you're going to have that. But if you let it sit, now you want to let it sit open. It can't sit closed up. It's got to sit in an open container. Then it should pull that out. It should come out of there. Most of it will just naturally evaporate.
And I always knew, like, traditionally I was taught or read, no one ever taught me anything. I'm self-taught. I've always been under the understanding most yeast strains, if there's chlorine present in the water, they interact with it and it creates those chlorophenols. I think
I did not know that. That's interesting.
That's what it may have been Lorena who told me. Sometimes
another thing, if you do wait till the last minute I'm pretty sure that if you boil water, it also gasses out the chlorine.
I believe that.
But
Yeah.
so what you'd wanna do is, like, get your water boiling for 30 minutes before you start,
Yeah.
or at some point, maybe boil it the night before, or I don't know, but because you gotta let it cool down some,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, boiling will make it happen a lot faster.
And I was going to say, if someone did say, well, Josh, what's so bad about chlorophenols? That's where you get like I think most traditionally the Band-Aid off flavor people complain about is from the chlorophenols. And so if you've never done a water report and you don't want to go to one of those glacier stands or Penguin Ice or whatever and buy RO, and you're too cheap to go to your grocery store and get RO water, and you're just like, I'm just brewing it out I'm brewing with what I have out of my kitchen sink, and then your beer ends up tasting like Band-Aid, there you go. There is too much chlorine. If it's so noticeable you smell it, like he's saying, don't brew with it. Like a lot of chlorine, City of St. Marcus, you lived here forever. I don't know if you've gotten tap water out of City of San Marcos lately. It's no bueno. It's not good.
So it's very interesting to me because I visit there a lot. I will visit one time and I could smell the chlorine like right in my face, and then the next time I'm there, it's hardly present at all. So it seems like they get it off quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what the deal is with that.
More times than not, the chlorine's there. Like it's wild. It's not so bad it lingers too long, but you start up a shower and you're like, oh my God, yeah, it smells like a swimming pool. And it's not that enjoyable. One thing too, I wrote notes when I thought I might be doing the episode alone. I didn't want to forget. If you don't use a calculator, don't use the thing built into Brewer's Friend, or spend the money on brewing water, which actually I say spend the money. I think there's a free version of brewing water. You just want to bulk buy because minerals, they're not that expensive, and they'll last forever because you're not using ounces or pounds worth in a batch. You're using very little. If you get calcium chloride and gypsum, the calcium chloride will help with like the maltiness, the roundness of your beer. If you're salting RO water, that is, you don't need to salt city water unless you have a water report and you can fill in the gaps of what's missing or whatever, or mitigating what's too high. But we're talking on the assumption of RO water, calcium chloride and gypsum. And if you're worried about pH, like our buddy Wayne Doucet stressed on a few episodes back, lactic acid is good to have on hand. Calcium chloride, gypsum, lactic acid are three minerals that are great to have that'll help you mitigate the basics. Here's where I go into Joshua's sales pitch mode, though. Even though I don't get paid anything, I got to work out an affiliate link or something with Seller Science.
Well, then Seller Science has packs, right?
That's what I was just getting to. I pulled up on I won't put it on the
screen.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to.
No. You segued it. You're good. Brewing water modifier. If you go, More Beer has them. I'm on the sellerscience.com website, and it's at the very top in the navigation. Instant water salts. They're going to send me some because these are pretty much brand new. They just started pushing them. They have water salts for Pilsner, for West Coast ales, for hazies, for lagers, for stouts and porters. They have red. They have whatever, Burton-on-Trent. Am I going to look like an idiot for not knowing what Burton-on-Trent is?
No, I don't. I mean, not any more than. No, you're fine.
Not any more than you usually do. What is Burton-on-Trent? What is? Oh, English IPAs. Okay. It makes for dry finish. Okay. Why is this the first time I've ever Burton-on-Trent? I'm going to edit that out. They have Burton-on-Trent, which is something everyone knows. Obviously, everyone knows what that means. But if you go,
I think it's hilarious because I have listened to some of your podcasts since I wasn't doing them, and you constantly say, I'm going to edit that out.
And I don't.
And I hear the whole thing before, so I know you didn't edit it out.
Yeah, I wish I had one of those Simpsons, that's the joke. I have to do more post-production editing than ever before now that I'm injecting the ads as opposed to doing them up top. And I hate that. I'm not going to go listen through and every time I flubbed I said, I'm going to edit that out. Lorena got disconnected for like 80 seconds one time. I think it was last week. And I was like, oh, I'm going to edit that out. Oh, no, I don't. I'll just fill the gap with Lorena is gone. Back back to Adrian.
I didn't hear that, but I would not have been totally surprised.
Back to Adrian's question to wrap it up. You don't have to be a chemist. And in fact, I will invoke the great Charlie Papazian. Just relax. Don't worry. Have a homebrew. If you just want to brew, he already has a reverse osmosis system. That's 75% the way already compared to the average home brewer. If just start brewing with straight RO. If you don't like it, add some gypsum, add some calcium chloride. There are calculators online, or go to the Cellar Science. I'll put a link to the landing page for more beer. So if you want to buy them, they're instant water salts. If you know, I am brewing to that this month, my pop and I are brewing a West Coast Pale Ale. You know what? I should get them to send me that and we should salt it.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm going to make a prediction for the website based on years of experience. Once you start using the salts in your beer and taste them, you're going to become a huge advocate of it.
You really
you're
think
going to look down on anybody that doesn't use salts, particularly if they make it really easy for you by sending you a little package you can pour in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is one thing I'll tell you, dude. Thankfully, I mean, I don't even have to cover the shipping costs. Dry yeast and stuff like these mineral packs with dry, so cheap to ship in the bigger picture compared to some bulky thing that had ice packs in it and all that. Oh my gosh. And they can fit a ton of those pouches in the smallest of boxes. It's wild. When they send me, like this week, they're shipping me all the stuff we need to send out the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, which is available at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. They it arrives always in a box that's maybe 5 by 5 by 3, like they're little, and it's like 45 pouches. It's incredible what they can ship in there. But Adrian, check out the show notes for the links and all that. But definitely don't worry about it. If you do decide to be lazy one week, would you agree though, Todd? It's better for him to just use straight RO than to go back to his city water.
I mean, it's impossible for me to answer because I have no idea what the mineral profile is.
He's in Portland. In Portland, the perfect water, or am I messing? Or is that New York City?
I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know. I mean, he may have a great mineral profile in his water, but the chlorines would screw him up. So it's just hard to say.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. If he, in his context, if he's like, if I decide to be lazy one week, I would say just use your RO, dude. Like, if you're not going to salt it, don't go to the chlorine water. But like Todd mentioned earlier, there's ways to mitigate it. I didn't realize just letting it sit out or boiling it and let it sit out. You don't want to be smelling chlorine before you start.
I can't imagine not salting my water. I mean, not putting minerals in my water anymore. Because now that I've done it for the last 10 brews, I look down on everybody that doesn't do it, right? That's what we do as brewers. That's what we do.
It's my way or the highway.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyways, Adrian, thank you so much for submitting that question.
But to answer your question, I think you'd be better off just doing ROs.
No, good. Thank you. Sometimes I'm right. See, Adrian? Adrian! I'm surprised it took me that long to do that. I don't know if an Adrian's ever written in. But anyways, thank you for submitting that question. Before we move on, a reminder, guys, you can email Joshua at homebrewhappyhour.com. I'd love to take your question there. I have a ton of emails, but I'll include yours in there. That's what I do. You could text our hotline. I like text messages. I have a database full of them, but even better, call it in to 325-305-6107. We love hearing your voice. The third question's not a voicemail, but before I get to it, today's show is brought to you by Hopsterette.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Pewterball family farm, Hopsterette.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is Hopsterette.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to Hopsterette.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's Hopsterette.com. The dawn of questions. Howard wrote in, and Howard said, I've been moving towards a shorter brew day, and I'm looking at no Sparge brewing. I currently do a traditional fly Sparge, but it feels like it takes an eternity. If I skip the Sparge entirely and just do a full volume mash, how much efficiency am I going to lose? Is it just a matter of throwing in an extra pound of grain to make up the difference, or is there a hidden benefit to the Sparge that I'm going to miss in the final flavor profile? I've never not sparged. I know a lot of people who do brew in a bag, and I would even call when they squeeze a pseudo sparge. Even no, that's wrong. I'm not going to edit that out, but I'm going to stop myself. They're not rinsing them, so it's not a sparge at all. They're just squeezing. That's not sparge is rinsing the grains at a high temperature.
But I have seen people pour a little water over it.
Oh, you
when
have?
they do the brew in a bag. Yeah.
Is it the same? Is it at like 167 or whatever? You think that they're pouring it over?
Yeah, sure.
Ooh, that hurts.
I would assume
that would hurt your hands. But yeah.
Well, they don't pour it over their hands. I mean, I have seen you do that before.
Yeah. What was I wonder what that work temperature was when we did that Brautag brew day. James was mortified. Do you remember that?
Like, he was mortified. We thought we were going to take you to the emergency room, and you were fine. Like your hands don't burn.
Not a single, not even a scar. And he watched it. It was probably 4.5 seconds. I opened the wrong valve. It wasn't quite boiling, but it was very hot water. And James goes, "Oh shit, Todd!" And I just got a towel and rinse them off. And he was like, "What's your hands?" And I was like, "What? I think my hands are fine. I think they're fine." Bare by the skin of my teeth did I not injure myself there. But Howard's question, I don't know. I can't put myself in the shoes necessarily of why I'd skip sparging, because my pop and I, we use a Grainfather G40. And for our sparging water, I heat it up in the OG mash and boil, non-recirculating. It's just a sparge kettle at this point. When we do a 5-gallon batch, we're barely sparging sometimes 2 gallons. It's not a ton of volume. And we don't turn it down. Our sparges take like 10 to 15 minutes, which goes against conventional wisdom, right? A lot of people would say, 30 minutes on the low end, never go below 30. But we don't even have the volume. It'd be a trickle at that point if we were doing it for 30. So we just have like what we feel like is a good flow rate, not pouring out, but not dripping out. And it's usually 12 to 15 minutes. And we've, again, had great results with that. But I do wonder, well, if we just let that stuff drip and not rinse at all, or do higher a full volume of mash, if that would make a difference. Have you ever done full volume mash?
And not sparge? No.
Correct. Yeah.
No. I do have an opinion on sparging I can give, though, because I have actually, James and I differ on this. In that he's very good about doing it for 45 minutes?
Yeah, he goes long. Yeah.
So if the benefit is 45 minutes, you get the absolute most efficient. And then full, you get maybe 20% less efficient. So or maybe it's not 20%,
right,
but you go from 80% to 60%, or 75 to 55. I mean, I do something in the middle. I will say that I do not sparge for 45 minutes. What I tend to do, and every system's different, but on mine, when I bring the liquid all the way down and transfer it to my boil kettle until it almost touches the grain, and then I sparge, and I bring it up, and then I bring it back down. I bring it up, I bring it back down, and I do that multiple times so that what I'm doing is pulling almost everything off the bottom, but not going much below the grain bed. Sometimes I go a little below, but not on purpose. But I just keep doing that so that I'm actually doing the sparge pretty quick. I may do my sparge in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and I know my efficiency exceeds 80% when I do that, because I know what my starting gravity, my final gravity, and I know how long. I mean, I know that the efficiency is above 80%, and I'm not doing it for more than 10 or 15 minutes.
I've heard to talk about percentage numbers and throw some more confusion to people. I think what I remember, I might have to Google it. If you don't sparge at all, like if your system gets 75% efficiency and you don't sparge and you don't mitigate it any other way, you lose like 15% at least. I'm pretty sure. Like that's a given. I don't think most homebrewers argue with that. And so that does affect the end result pretty drastically. Like, going from 75 to 60, I had to did you see me do that quick math in my head real quick?
Yeah, that was impressive.
75 minus 15. That's when I inject the meme of the person with all the charts and stuff around their head. That's a big difference, right? Like you're going to see like, oh my gosh, I was supposed to hit, 1059. I'm at 1047. I mean, and that's way drastic, but you know what I mean? It will make a big difference on your gravity. Like you said, the best way for experimenting or dialing in efficiency and seeing how different sparging techniques affects it is by doing what you do, taking readings all the gosh darn time throughout the entire brew day of understanding what the gravity is at each stage. And then you can mitigate. If you have to mitigate it in the boil, you mitigate it in the boil. If you have to mitigate it, with more sparge or whatever, you're now doing it with a refractometer because you still don't have an easy dens, right? Like you didn't replace your easy dens.
I don't know who they are.
They're dead to you. Well, are you? You never join me in boycotts. I'll join you. Are we boycotting easy dens?
I have boycotted them for a couple of years now.
Boycott them. I'm on board, buddy. I love a good boycott. Like, he's laughing because it's true. I don't talk about it enough.
True.
I haven't stepped foot.
You're the king of boycotting.
I haven't stepped foot in a Target since January of 2008. I refuse. They're dead to me. Bill Miller Barbecue, San Marcos specifically, lifetime ban. They're dead to me. Corporate ban, it's coming up on 2 years. I have a 4-year ban with them. I'll come back and spend my money with them in another 2 years. I boycott a lot. And I tell you and Liz all the time about my boycotts, and y'all just roll your eyes like this idiot.
And the Bill Miller one was very justified.
Yeah.
I love that story.
They're gaslighting me. I was about to fight this guy. And not really. I mean, jiu-jitsu, pull him between my legs while I'm on the ground. Get down here. Get down here. I'm gonna beat you up, mister. You see these thighs? Do you see these thighs? Anyway, so back to Howard's question. If anything, Howard, fly sparging for me, I would think batch sparging is what might feel like it takes forever, right? Fly sparging, I have my volume already there. Like, dude, he didn't say how long he shoots to timeline for his sparge. I think, would you agree most people try 30 minutes on the low end? That's my anecdotal observations. A lot of brewers.
30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes.
I would say, Howard, open up that flow rate on your sparge. And if you're at 15 or less, like Todd and I, when have you ever had a bad experience, Todd, with 15 minutes or less sparging? I don't think you have. I haven't. Mount Hop and
I have not. And the efficiency, like I said, has remained above 80%.
Yep.
Even when I'm doing it for 15 minutes, I haven't had any issues at all.
Yeah, like I said. And
I think it's one of the 80-20 rule. Like, I think you're getting the 80% out within that 15 minutes. Do I want to spend another 30 minutes to get the other 20%?
Right.
It's worth it to me to spend 15 to get the 80, but it's not worth 30 to get the.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. But again, he didn't say what kind of brewing he's doing. I would say, and maybe if you're watching at youtube.com/Homebrew Happy Hour, comment if you agree. A ton of people in the community do brew in a bag. I mean, I would say of the thousands of people who listen and the dozens who are entertained, over 70% of them, I made that up, but over 50% for sure, over half of our audience that is vocal and engages with me, do brew in a bag. So maybe
I had no idea. Dude, I had no idea it was that high. Wow.
You have, yeah. I am not going to complain, but a lot of double milling, man. A lot of double milling for the Trump Plum.
Yeah.
Unmilled is the best, guys. Y'all, unmilled is how you probably want me to send those kits to y'all. And then you just mill it yourself fresh. That's what you want to do. You don't want me milling them for you. But back to his question.
You don't want to see what he's throwing in there when he has to mill it.
Yeah. It's not rockets. And hey, I just got, you're never on social media. I just posted a great compliment that someone who received the Pliny the Elder kit, he bought it outright. He didn't join the club. And he's been buying his kits from Northern and More Beer, and not throwing shade at Northern or More Beer. I'm just a king at packaging. He was so impressed. He was like, oh my God, how much thought and care went into, and he was shocked that I even vacuum seal the hops. I thought that was standard. You know, I told him, getting beat by Todd Burns in a sweatshop will do that to you. It'll create higher standards of packaging. But
I'm glad I can make some contribution.
Yeah, you and my father have made me who I am. I would say, Howard, maybe I would think regardless of the method that you're brewing, you could always try brewing a bag. You would want a finer crush. So most of the time people achieve that by double milling. You would have the brew bag. I didn't intend to actually shout out. I think the company is called the Brew Bag, but I'm sure they're good people. I'll put a link to that. A brew type of bag, whether it's the trademarked The Brew Bag or some reusable kind of hot bag, maybe even a muslin bag that's not reusable. I don't know, but you got to put them in a bag at full volume of water, or you have a water calculator. Figure that out. Try that. You can let the sparge wouldn't be a sparge per se. It'd just be letting the stuff drip out whenever you're starting to get your wort up to boil temp, and see how that results. That would be a affordable way to try and a relatively safe way to experiment with this saving time, no sparge method. I bet people will comment too. Dude, not only did I cut out sparging, my boil's only 40 minutes, or my mash is only half an hour. My boil's 60, the traditional. You know what I mean? Like people, there's other ways to shorten your brew day. How I shorten my brew day, my pop does all the work, and I gab on the YouTube live stream. My brew day, not very long at all. It's actually, I don't know about his, but my brew day is pretty efficient and pretty short. But I think that about covers it, unless you have something else to add from Mr. Howard's question.
Nope.
So Howard, thank you for writing in. And again, guys, one last plea, informational. It's not really plea. That sounds desperate. One last time to remind you that you can write in like all of the questions today. Joshua at homebrewhappyhour.com. You could email to Joshua at homebrewhappyhour.com. You can text it to our hotline, but call that hotline, 325-305-6107. Love hearing your voice. And again, it makes it just more fun for everybody. Mr. Burns, I was happy to have you back, especially it's a theme for the show now of just having guests do it last minute. I'm not going to change that. Now, I'm always going to just do last minute now. What are you doing today? Oh, duh. I caught you. You offered on the phone, and I took you up on it. So, thank you. I did. I appreciate your time, my friend, and hopefully,
it was very nice. I enjoyed doing it with you. I wish James could have been on. He's got some things going on.
Yeah.
Is out of the office today, but sometime it'd be fun to have
get the gang back,
Stooges back on together.
Absolutely, and it's a bummer you can't go to HomebrewCon, but final reminder too, guys, homebrewcon.com. It's still time to register if you want to hang out. If you're going to be there, hit me up. My pop and I will be there. We'd love to hang out with you, grab a beer, maybe we used to do booths at HomebrewCon, remember, and sort of had unofficial meetups where a lot of listeners would come at one time or just throughout the day because they got to try our beer and all that. My pop and I aren't taking beer with us, but we'd love to have a beer with whomever shows up. So if you're going to be there, hit me up. You can text me directly, 325-305-6107. We'd love to see you in Asheville. And Mr. Burns, I'd love to see you on a future episode sooner than later.
All right. Sounds good. Good to see you.
Later.